In the last video, I took you through the first 8 camps we stayed in, things we saw and disasters we had, or nearly had, during our shakedown cruise, and I'll be continuing with our full launch out of Plano through Oklahoma and continuing to Colorado Springs, Colorado. After getting a house ready for showings, we left Plano on July 13th. I'm not sure I even noticed it was a Friday the 13th. Time passes oddly when you're retired. And we headed off to Oklahoma City, where we stayed at the Twin Fountains RV Park. Twin Fountains is a gorgeous park. We had a site right next to their central pond with a concrete pad and full hookups. The office staff were friendly and helpful, though one of the ladies was surprised to see Susan unhooking Buck, our towed car, from Faye. We never found out why she wouldn't handle that with her own RV. It'll forever be a mystery. That's become Susan's thing, though. She's the towed master. The grounds and facilities at Twin Fountains are well kept, and they had a pool, bar, and cafe on site, though we didn't take advantage of those while we were there. The bar was quiet when we went through, partly because NFL games were banned due to players taking a knee during the anthem. What did we see? Our friend Gene took us to the Cowboy Museum, which honestly we wouldn't have gone to on our own, but it was enjoyable with a guide and well worth the time spent. We also got some fun dancing in with the local Irish dance group. Our next stop was Shiloh Vineyard in Wakini, Kansas, which is part of the Harvest Host Network that makes farms and vineyards available to RVers for one-night stays. The vineyard is at the end of a long, dusty road, and though there were no hookups, the grounds are gorgeous, and Kirk Johnston is a great host. We started off our stay with a tour of the grounds, followed by a wine and cheese tasting, came away with several bottles and some cheese to keep us going on the road. What did we see? The vineyard. The grounds, inside and out, are just gorgeous, well-kept. It's a place where you can have your wedding or any sort of event, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. We took several walks around the grounds along with the local critters and enjoyed the quiet night and really dark skies. The vineyard cats tried to adopt us and Chip while we were there, and Chip and the cats got along okay. He was much more interested in checking out the smells around the grounds than actually talking to the cats. Unfortunately, the goats weren't remotely interested in meeting him. On the way to the next camp, we got Faye and Buck washed, though the clean didn't last very long. Speaking of the next camp, next up is Dakota Ridge RV Park in Golden, Colorado. We had a concrete pad, full hookups, a table, and the roadways were asphalt. Chip was much happier. The park also needed some maintenance, as they had a picnic area that looked like it had been closed for years and broken windows on the main building that had been taped over for some time. The people were friendly. I'd recommend the park mainly as a base to see the surrounding areas. There was a nice trail uphill with good views of the surrounding area and the sun coming up or going down. Keep an eye out for snakes, though. While we were there, I gave Faye a bit of a waxing to go with the recent wash. Yes, that took a while. What did we see? Well, shopping in Golden, of course, hiking trails. Frickin' Colorado, what isn't there to see? There's just gorgeous everywhere you look. Next, we stayed with some friends in Evergreen, Colorado. Great hosts, and we got to learn about franken-leveling, as our driveway was sloped more than we'd had to deal with previously. This was good practice for the next camp we stayed in, though. There were no hookups, and it was a good opportunity to see how long we could run without the generator when we're camping without AC. The weather was perfect, and we were able to sleep with the windows open. One thing we learned is not to run the microwave on just batteries. The UPS goes off, and the dog is very unhappy. Evergreen is gorgeous, and there are deer everywhere. What did we see? Friends, family, local festivals, hiking. Evergreen is just a great place to be in July. Next up is Glenwood Canyon Resort in Glenwood, Colorado. On the way, we stopped at Wilmore Lake and passed through our first tunnel. Yay! So, Glenwood Resort. Not what we call a resort, but it did have an outdoor bar and the bartendress was friendly. We had a gravel, full hookup site with no fire pit. The days of having one were nearly over as we were getting too far west into areas that were too dry. Glenwood Canyon also had ungraded sites, and we had to engage in more franken-leveling, and ended up with some twist in the frame of the RV, and couldn't completely close the interior doors. We asked for assistance, but the best they could do was offer to move us, as they only grade the sites at the end of the season. What did we see? Glenwood spring shopping and hiking along Grizzly Creek. Next is the winery at Holy Cross Abbey in Cannon City, Colorado. This is another Harvest Host member, and I can't recommend them enough. There were no hookups and more gravel, but the parking lot was large, the grounds were gorgeous, people friendly, and they had good wine and other comestibles. What did we see? Well, the winery and grounds, of course, and a nearby tunnel drive trail. If you like geology, you should definitely take a hike on that trail. Next is a Pueblo KOA in Pueblo, Colorado. We had a full hookup site on gravel, which was a little small but had room for a table. The staff were friendly, but the site overall is more than a little barren and the winds are steadily decimating their trees. The dog park is really nothing more than a sand lot with a fence around it, but there's a walking trail nearby, and if you get any real weather, you may be rewarded with interesting skies. Beware, though, the route in can be a bit harrowing the first time. There are single-track tunnels under the highway that claim a 13-foot clearance. I seriously thought about driving all the way to Denver so I could turn around safely. After assurances that I'd make it, I went through one of the tunnels without even scraping the antenna on the roof. After I arrived at the park, I was told that several tunnels have apparently been marked lower than they really are in order to prevent people from scraping their air conditioners off on the top of the tunnel. What did we see? Dirt. Cool clouds, really big ants. It's good for a night or two, but not much longer. Next up is easily the third best camp we've been to so far, when just considering the camp itself. We had full hookups, a gravel site, boo, and a table with a fire pit on the second level at the southwest edge of the camp. If you can grab a site in that area, we highly recommend it. Deer came through just about every morning and night, and if you hang out a feeder, you'll get frequent hummingbird visitations. Our first hour there, we put out the awning and one arm broke. Fortunately, a mobile repair company was able to come out and repair it just a few days before we were scheduled to leave. One other thing we were happy to see is they don't wait until the end of the season to regrade sites. Within an hour of those people leaving, they had someone out making sure the site was ready for the next person. What did we see? Colorado Springs, Garden of the Gods, Mother Muffs, which used to be Meadow Muffins way back in the day, and Pub Dog, a great little pub that you can bring your pup into. That's all for now. Keep an eye out for the next video, subscribe and be notified, where we'll start in Longmont, Colorado and end in Buffalo, Wyoming. Thanks for watching.